I'll do a live stream video, and instead of it just sitting there on Facebook or sitting there on YouTube, not only will I create more YouTube videos out of it because there may be parts of the live stream that are really powerful, I'll create an entire whole new video out of that. More video, because, and I know you've heard Gary say this, Carl, volume is essential. Yeah, so video and visual are definitely cool. And you kind of had your heart set on YouTube, correct?
Here's the thing. I mean, again, you guide me. I trust your expertise in this. Yes. I do know that like the visual is good and the YouTube. I love YouTube. I do appreciate it, so I do like that. I do, again, like I said, I listen to 6 hours of podcast a day. So for me, it's. I definitely understand the podcast mentality too.
Carl, here's the cool thing. Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. But here's the cool thing, Carl, is you can actually, definitely I think you need to create a YouTube channel. Definitely I think you need to create a LinkedIn profile that I'm going to send you some stuff that's going to help you with that. Definitely do you need to have an Instagram account. You don't necessarily, I think it's important to have a Facebook business page, and it's important to have a Twitter account too, because those are kind of like the behemoths, right? They've been around the longest. But I definitely know that if you're a visual guy, if you're a video guy, if that's where your gut's telling you that, like, you know what, Nez, I think in order to build this thing, I think the best, avenue or genre of content for me would be the visual content. Well, then guess what? There's no place more video, and the king of video. Nobody tops video more than YouTube. So you got to get your things cooking on your YouTube channel. I'm going to be sending you a bunch of stuff that's going to help you kind of guide you on creating a YouTube channel. And so, absolutely. So YouTube is definitely where you'll start. And here's the thing. I've already got an idea for your very first video. Your very first video should be, and by the way, here's the cool thing, Carl. You don't need a fancy microphone. You don't need a fancy camera. What are you using right now? Are you just using your laptop to talk to me?
I'm actually just on my iPhone talking to you.
You're just on your iPhone. See? And look, I mean, the picture is crystal clear. Now, one thing I would say when you're recording on your iPhone, always record in landscape. Do you see that? So you don't want to record like this. You want to record in landscape fashion, okay? Because all YouTube, the screen size is widescreen. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're filming everything in landscape mode. Otherwise, it's just not gonna come through. Okay, it's gonna have those bars on the side. I see a lot of people who create YouTube videos, and I mean, some of them actually are pretty successful. But they do everything with vertical video, and you're not taking advantage of the frame. You know what I mean? You want to take advantage of as much frame as you want. And I love. Do you have any like audio or video gear at all?
I don't right now, but I will get everything.
Well, guess what? You don't need it. Here's the cool thing, especially now that you're starting out. As you get better and better and better at developing videos and developing content, and then again, I want you to put everything on your website and draw everything to your website. And Carl, all you need to do is just follow me on, as a matter of fact, all you need to do, if you want to watch how I kind of, because the same places, if your deal is video, Carl, the same places that I think that I think you should be are the same places that I am. Okay. So I'm on YouTube. I focus on YouTube. I focus on LinkedIn. I focus on Instagram. Those are my three major biggies, and then the podcast. And what I was going to say is you can strip the audio in your editing software, and you need just simple editing software like iMovie. I use iMovie too. You can strip that audio and turn that into a podcast. So check it out. One of the most beautiful things, I think one of the 8th wonders of the world, Einstein said, is compound interest. I think the 9th wonder of the world is repurposing content. Getting way more miles out of your content than just so imagine this. Let me tell you exactly what I do. Are you ready for this, Carl?
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll do a live stream, Check this out. This is like straight from like my playbook. I'll do a live stream at an hour long, right? Maybe hour and 15 long. I'll strip the audio. I've got a podcast. I'll maybe do an intro and outro, and I've got a podcast. I've got a sponsor too on my podcast, so I have to do a little bit more involved. But for you, bam, you have a podcast, and I'll show you how you can, depending on where you create your website. The tech stuff, just Google it. Like, it's really simple. As far as like the tech stuff, like my RSS feed and all that crap, just Google that stuff. It takes 2 seconds. Strip the audio. You've got a podcast. Cut up the live stream into like little, what I call micro content. Little video clips, post them on Instagram, post them on Facebook, post them on Snapchat. You can repurpose them on LinkedIn. It's phenomenal. It gives exposure. It gives brand awareness. LinkedIn right now is so hot with video that if you created a video on LinkedIn right now, Carl, and again, you do one video that you put on YouTube, but you get so many miles out of that content. If you create a video right now and you post it on LinkedIn, the organic reach on LinkedIn is insane. And do you know what I mean, the difference between organic reach and paid traffic?
Yes.
Okay, just in case you didn't, let me know if you have any questions. I want to answer every question you have. But dude, this is straight out of my playbook, Carl. I'll do a live stream video, and instead of it just sitting there on Facebook or sitting there on YouTube, not only will I create more YouTube videos out of it, because there may be parts of the live stream that are really powerful, I'll create an entire whole new video out of that. More video, because, and I know you've heard Gary say this, Carl, volume is essential. Yeah. The amount of content that you put out is the best way to grow organically. Now, when you get further down the line, you may want to do some paid traffic, but that's not what this consultation is all about, because paid traffic is a whole nother beast. Okay. I do paid traffic. I do Google ads, and I do Facebook ads and Instagram ads. I used to do Snapchat ads and LinkedIn ads, but they were too expensive and I wasn't getting any ROI on them. That's way a whole nother ballpark. Okay. Right now, LinkedIn is a great place to grow things organically, because LinkedIn video is literally only a year old. I mean, it's insane. We're just starting with this. I mean, even if you think about YouTube, you know what I mean, Carl? YouTube is only like 8, 9, 10 years old. This is all new. Facebook is like 15 years old. Everything is brand new. I mean, imagine this. We're at the precipice. We're at the beginning of this unbelievable, landscape, this unbelievable, epoch that we're in right now. So I repurpose it. I've got a podcast. I've got a bunch of little small videos I can put on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. And I still have my live stream that I put on my website. And I still have my live stream video that I put on my YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, remember the concept: macro patience, micro speed, volume. And Carl, here's the biggest thing that I'm going to share with you today. Do not worry about if it's good or it's bad. So many people, they overthink it. Do you know what I mean, Carl?
That's me, 100%. That's why I haven't done anything yet, because I overthink everything. And I just read in Gary V's book, he says, stop overthinking your content. Just put it out.
Oh my God. If I overthought the way I can't, and I've got a video, by the way, called Overthinking and Anxiety. You got to check that out.
I just watched it.
Oh, you watched it?
Before we talked. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Watch it religiously, Carl. It's going to change your life.
Yeah.
Dude, if you look at anybody's first 100 videos, I mean, I'm talking 100 videos, they are atrocious. My first 100 videos, maybe my first 120 videos, I don't know, they're garbage. That's French for garbage, Carl. I mean, they're so bad. They're like so bad. If you go in with that expectation, okay, get over this perfectionist syndrome, get over this overthinking syndrome. You may cringe at watching yourself on camera, which is fine. That means you're an actual good human being. Anybody who watches themselves on camera and goes, "Me want more," they're freaks. There's something wrong with them. I want you to know these are very common things. Does that make sense, Carl?
Yes.
This isn't something unique to you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not deficient. Everybody goes through this. When I was first creating videos, I was like, dude, I look like a complete dipshit. Look at me. Like I was like, oh God, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do this again. Carl, the only thing that ever stops you from anything, don't ever forget this, Carl, It's not your parents. It's not drugs. It's not your wife. It's not kids. It's not your boss. It sure for damn well is not Donald Trump. People like to blame Donald Trump for all their problems. The only thing that stops you, Carl, is that little guy inside your head whose favorite word is can't. He lives in every single human being. I call him the eternal doubter. You've got to give that dude the pink slip. You got to fire his ass. Don't listen to that guy. The next time that guy comes, because he's going to come, okay, Carl? He's going to be like, who do you think you are? You know, the church, you know, says this about you. You know, they must be right. I mean, who do you think you are creating content? What do you mean you're going to do this or do that or build this or build? Don't listen to that guy, Carl. He's full of shit. Don't listen to that guy.
Yeah.
I want you, every time that guy comes, and you know the difference. I'm not talking about your natural mind that's like creative, imaginative, and loves your family and thinks of beautiful things. I'm talking about your psychological mind. The psychological mind that lives inside every human being. Don't let that guy win. I mean, I said this in my video. If you watch that video, I talk about that.
Yes.
I want you to just create. And so when you build your YouTube channel, and I've got a checklist that I'm going to be sending to you on like channel header and your about page, and I'm going to come and review everything once you build it. Okay, Carl? And again, these are things that you can Google. The tech stuff, don't worry about it. Just Google like, how do I get started or whatever. I actually want to tell you about the first video that you need to create. Okay?
Okay.
So the first video that you need to create, Carl, and I don't think you should do a live stream. Have you thought about live streaming at all? Have you ever done a live stream?
No, I've live streamed only for business, for work, before for the churches,
Dude,
but never did anything like that.
Live streaming is a killer way for community management. It's a killer way to engage with your audience. There's a lot of people who have been doing this for a long time who have actually said and made kind of predictions. I don't know if they're true or not. I mean, it doesn't really matter because predictions are a dime a dozen. But they've actually said that they think that YouTube and they think that live streaming in general is going to take over all these platforms. I mean, you notice Instagram has live, Facebook Live is huge, YouTube Live is huge. It's only a matter of time until LinkedIn Live comes. I mean, Twitter has Periscope. Live streaming is a quick, easy way to create content. It was one of the first things that I did. I've called myself this in the past, a live stream nut job, because I love live streaming so much. And it feels scary at first, Carl. It feels nerve-wracking at first. And just like anything else, you get better and better and better. But I want your very first video to be all about your story. Carl, you don't have to be an actor. Carl, you don't have to be a video guy. Carl, you don't have to be a tech guy. Carl, you don't have to be a very good communicator or speaker. That's going to come with practice. The only criteria, Carl, is you just got to be real. That's it. That's the only criteria. You know how I've been successful, Carl? I mean, none of this stuff that I'm telling you right now, none of this stuff is like, I'm not reading off cue cards, right?
Right.
I don't need a PowerPoint. I don't need notes. You know why, Carl? Because it comes straight from my gut. Because I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Every single day I do this. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So your very first video should be titled My Story, okay? It should be all about why are you doing this? It should be very raw, and it should be very transparent. Do you have to go right now, Carl?
No, I'm just grabbing something here.
Oh,
Charger
yeah, sure. Go
here.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Battery pack.
That's not a problem.
My battery pack. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry about it.
Apparently, my phone was dying super crazy, so.
Oh no, that's totally fine.
Trying to get that.
When it comes to work, man, I'm with you. I totally get it. You don't ever have to explain anything.
Let me see if I can do this. Is it going to pick it up? It's not.
Are you trying to put it in landscape?
Leave it like this.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just going to turn it, but that's fine.
Okay,
right
cool.
there. All right. Good to go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that your very first video, and you can record it on your phone, and you literally, Carl, you just do one of these, and you just say, "Hi, my name's Carl, and I have just started a YouTube channel. Welcome to it." And then you just spit your truth, man.
Okay.
You just absolutely spit your truth, and you talk about why you're doing this. Don't think of what's the cool thing to say. Don't think of what's the professional thing to say. You know, all you got to do, Carl, is be capital REAL, capital real. That's it.
Okay.
And just pour your heart out and be completely honest. Even if you think it, see, I just released a video recently called, the number one thing that's stopping people from video branding, which is, I don't know if you saw it. It was on Instagram and on LinkedIn too. And it was taken from, as everything I do, I back it up, Carl. I do it every single day. You're going to see it. If you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you're going to get it. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you're going to see everything I do, right? I have a Facebook business page too. And I'll talk to you about Facebook in a little bit, even though Facebook's trying to make a video platform and Facebook's trying to go more deeper into video and make video one of the cornerstones of its platform. It's not working out, especially for people between the ages of, younger people are leaving Facebook really fast. And I'll talk to you about that in a second.
Yeah.
I do it every day, Carl. I practice this, everything I'm talking about. So when I say slicing up a video and creating micro content, the video my most recent post on Instagram, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can bring this up. I'm going to actually bring it up and show it to everybody. I can bring it up on the screen. My most recent post on Instagram, okay? And give me 1 second here. This will take just a quick second. My most recent post on Instagram, check this out. Why does this keep happening? Okay, 1 second. Okay, now, check this out, Carl. Can you see the screen, Carl, at all?
I can't.
Okay, you can't. Okay, well, I'm just when you watch this back, you're gonna see it. But if you go to my most recent post on Instagram, so you're gonna see this right here, okay? So this is called branding, why is that cut off? Oh, here we go. Never mind. So video branding, best tip to get started, right? So I put some text at the top, all right? And you can't see it right now, but when you watch this on the replay, Carl, you'll be able to see it. But this was taken from a YouTube video. I spliced this up. This is only a minute-long video, and it's taken from a YouTube video, and it's now content on Instagram that's getting engagement.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. It's everything I do, Carl. I practice what I preach. Everything.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's just. And that was a YouTube video that I literally published like a year ago, but it's still relevant today, Carl, because the stuff that I create, and you're going to hear this phrase a lot. The kind of content that you should be creating, Carl, after you do your story and after you really. Tell your real true life story about what's really going on without being negative. I don't want you to be negative. I don't want you to denigrate anybody. You can just simply be very general about everything. And I want to talk about that next, but you're going to hear this phrase really quickly. It's called evergreen content. Have you heard of that before?
No.
Okay. What evergreen content means is content that stays fresh. It's about a general kind of idea, principle, or concept that really applies to every kind of time period. Okay, so like something, for example, like mindset tips, right? Or how to tell your story to the world tips, or why I feel spirituality is important. I mean, that's not something that's just for 2019. Everybody, that's going to be for all time. But if you do a video on like, hey, I'm going to comment on Trump's State of the Union, that's not evergreen content because a year from now, it's not going to be relevant. Does that make sense? Like nobody's going to watch, unless they're rabid fans, nobody's going to watch you talk about Trump's State of the Union that he did in 2019. Do you know what I mean? And there's a lot of YouTube videos about stuff like that. Like there's YouTube videos on, I had a guest on very recently. He did a YouTube video called My Thoughts on the Super Bowl, right? You can do all sorts of cool, fun things. But, I think the theme for your channel, Carl, is going to be, I feel like it's going to be a motivational channel. It's going to be a motivational, educational, spiritual channel. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, I mean, definitely motivational and inspirational is definitely where I want to go. Never want to be negative. I don't think negativity gets you anywhere. So, and just learning from, how to lick your wounds and keep going. So,
yeah. And these are some other things too that may change, through the years. That's why I don't want you to have a channel that says, I don't want you to have a a channel that says the spiritual channel, or something like that.
Right.
I don't want you to have a website that says, the spiritual website or whatever. Does that make sense? Like,
right.
I only want you to have, I only want you to have, I think a personal brand is where it's at. Carl J. Duran or Carl Duran, I don't know, 909 or something or whatever. I want you to have a channel name that is you. It doesn't even necessarily have, look, my first and last name are not Professor Nez. Okay. My real last name is Nezafati. And, my first name's not Professor, it's Peter. Right. But because of, my brand and what I'm all about and how I want to inspire and motivate and teach people messaging and mindset. And I've always been a coach, a trainer, and a professor, and I'm an actual professor, and I like the sound of Professor Nez. That's my brand. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you may not even want to call it Carl J. Duran, but I would still buy that domain if it's available, like ASAP. And that's something you may want to talk about or think about. Besides creating your first video, which is your story, which I think should be just real, raw, and honest. Do you have any ideas about your brand name, or do you have any gut feeling or any instincts of your own that you feel you should call yourself in your channel?
The ideas that I had right now, I had a couple. The one that was sticking out to me, and the theme is where I want to go, but I don't know how to make it clean and clear, is breaking through the concrete, because that idea, that rose that grew through the concrete, that's my inspiration. That's what it was. And I got the painting behind me that will be there.
I see that. That's
concrete.
Really cool. Actually, that would be a cool little design for your channel art, maybe.
Right.
Maybe you could take a picture of that and get somebody on Fiverr, like a graphic designer, to create something. Who did that painting? Do you know?
My wife did.
Your wife did?
Yeah.
So your wife is like this killer person, this creative person.
Yes. Yeah. She's got a pretty good following with her art. She's had articles written about her, top new artist in Orange County. Press Enterprise wrote some stories about her. She's been won stuff from city councils and featured artist all over. So
that is so amazing.
Really great.
Man. That's really
so great.
Cool. I'm so proud of you, dude. That's just awesome. There's nothing like having a partner in life who's not just your partner, but just somebody you can work with, talk with, get inspired by. I think that's killer. I think that's awesome. Good for you, man. That's interesting. Like, you were thinking something like breaking through the concrete. Yeah.
That's one of the ideas. I don't know. I know that's not as it's not as catchy sometimes in certain things, because it doesn't clearly state what I'm doing per se.
Yes.
The other idea I had, I don't know if it would be a lasting brand, and so that's why I don't know if I want to stay with it. But again, was kind of doing the church confidential type thing, where it's like, hey, I'm exposing just not and again, not a smash on the church, but just behind the curtain, what's kind of going on and how it can affect people and how it can hurt people. Because there's been a lot of people that have been hired by churches, and once you step behind that veil and you see Oz, it's a different machine than you think. And so, knowing that and how to deal with that just yourself, because it's different when you see it that way. What that can do for somebody. So, there's a couple thoughts, but again, I'm dancing around them. I don't want to be tied to that per se too much, because there's been other times that stuff has happened to me that way. And it wasn't where I've, had friends that have started businesses with that were behind me and kind of booted me out and started a new business together and took all of our clients. And but that wasn't a obviously a church thing, but it was something I had to deal with, So those types of things, I don't want to exclude that. Life lessons from children, things like that. There's just so much. The world gives us so much content to speak on. So
and I don't think again, this has to do with overthinking it too. I definitely don't think this is something to overthink. Break through the concrete is fantastic. My brand is, Professor Nez, share your story with the world, because all I talk about is branding. All I talk about is messaging. It ties in with what I do. I help people with their resumes. I help people with their branding online, their reputation online, getting their vision and story out there so they can be understood, right? I love breaking through the concrete. Yeah, to make it maybe even more specific, you could say Carl J. Duran, something like modern church, modern life, or, changing the church one brick at a time or something, or one day at a time. I don't know. Like you could do. So I like Church Confidential too. But I think one of the things is when you have a tagline for a YouTube channel, it usually should be something that is not about you, but it's something about that it's going to benefit your audience. So this is something that actually, it's so cool because you can like chart the entire journey online, and you can get help from your audience. You can actually ask your audience, what are some things that I do this all the time, Carl. What are some problems that you're facing? What are some struggles that you're facing in your spiritual or religious life or church life? Maybe I'll create a video that will help you. That's why you see a lot of titles on YouTube. It's like how to bake a cake, right? Or how to personal brand yourself, or how to market yourself, or how, you know what I mean? You see a lot of how-to content on YouTube because most people are searching for that.
Yeah.
It's like the Jeopardy platform, you're doing the question, your video is the question to their solution, you know what I mean?
Right.
And to their answer. So it's interesting. It's like if people need help with, if people need help with in getting more trust back into their faith. Ooh, wait a minute. What about this, Carl? Carl J. Duran, bringing trust, merging trust with faith, or marrying trust with faith.
Yeah.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, and I'm just kind of spitballing here, but correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's really about like people you've lost, and I think a lot of people feel this way. It's about losing that trust. I mean, these people are corrupt. These people are doing bad boogie things, right? And obviously, I don't want to mention any names or do anything like that here.
Right.
But like, I mean, it's kind of like that vibe, is it not?
Yeah.
And what you could do, Carl, is you could be that bridge, that modern, fresh. How old are you, Carl? Like 33?
35.
35.
Just turned 35.
This is your generation. Like, Carl, this is your generation. Like, I'm way older than you. This is your generation. Your generation is the sort of millennial generation which is feeling sort of aimless and aloof and sort of displaced spiritually. And religion is, there's statistics I know that prove this, that religious affiliation is on the decline. You could be that bridge. Carl J. Duran, bringing the trust back in the church, or instilling, entrusting, bringing faith back into trust, or trust back into church. You know what I mean? Like something, because I think, again, when you're doing these taglines, when you're creating content, Carl, the biggest mistake that I see people doing, and I don't want you to make this mistake, the biggest mistake that I see people doing is they make it all about them. Don't make it about yourself. Make it about the audience. Serve the audience. And isn't it funny and ironic that should be what religion is all about, right? I mean, isn't that what Jesus said? Jesus said, I'm here to serve. I'm here to die for mankind's sins. It's so funny, Carl, when I think of Jesus, he never once thought about himself. He never once thought about himself. He never once put one molecule of thought about himself. And yet the whole world is talking about him after all these years.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, Carl? Like he never once talked about himself. And now yet all he's, you know what I mean? Like everybody's talking. I mean, it blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind. So serve your audience. Serve your audience. Cater to your audience. And you're going to build your audience. I definitely think the type of people that you want to reach are not going to be the post-35 people. I definitely think the type of audience that needs what you have and needs what I think is going to get a lot out of your content and get motivated and inspired by you, because it's kind of like the same as my audience. It's really the sort of 18 to 35-year-olds or 18 to 37-year-olds or something like that. I think that range is where it's at. I really do. And that's an audience that eats, sleeps, and breathes on YouTube, eats, sleeps, and breathes on Instagram, eats, sleeps, and breathes on, all these, not so much on Facebook. Facebook's more 50 and plus, but definitely YouTube and Instagram. And I think LinkedIn, just for professionalism. Again, here's a guy that thinks you should be everywhere. But I want you to focus. I want you to focus on creating a YouTube channel. That's what I want you to focus on. Okay. But don't overthink the tagline. Don't overthink the channel art. You can change the channel art. I'm going to give you a YouTube checklist that's going to walk you through everything you need to do for your YouTube channel. What I want to see for you, as we're kind of approaching the end here of this session, what I want to see from you, Carl, is I want you to create that first video. I want you to create that first video, and then if you want to, publish it on your new YouTube channel unlisted, which means it hasn't gone public yet. Send me the link. I'd love to give you some feedback on it.
Perfect.
Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Do you have any questions before we get out of here? Do you have any questions at all, or any comments, or any? I'm going to send you, like I said, Carl, I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff. And I'm actually, you know what else I'm going to send you? I'm also going to send you my, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you a video all about LinkedIn too. Just because I would love to have that. I'm going to send you a video that's going to help you set up your LinkedIn profile as well.
Okay.
And then that way, it's a video I actually did with a client that's going to help you too, Carl. And I'm going to send you like a bunch of templates too. I'm going to send it to your, Carl Duran personal Gmail. Okay.
Okay. Sounds great.
But do you have any questions for me before we get out of here?
I think the one big thing was how long should that video be, that first video?
Okay, very good question. So YouTube is definitely a place where you can get away with long form video. So YouTube, the algorithm on YouTube favors, people think it's views or subscribers or thumbs up. It's not. The algorithm, and much like any algorithm, they want people to stay on YouTube. So the majority of your traffic, and we'll get to YouTube analytics later, and you can look at all these things. There's tons of videos on YouTube analytics and all that stuff. But the majority of your traffic is probably going to come, for the majority of a lot of content creators, from suggested videos. Now, the only reason, do you know by the way, Carl, before I act really presumptuous, do you even know what I mean when I say algorithm?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The algorithm.
So good. Yeah. So because this is like what I, it's everything. Like literally, like understanding what the algorithm is just like, it's literally everything. So when you the algorithm favors what's called watch time. The algorithm favors how long you keep people on YouTube. So the longer you keep people on YouTube, the more the algorithm will push you and go in your favor and bump you up on suggested videos, because they're like, hey, people like Carl's video. They're staying on his video 20, 30% longer than other videos like his kind. We're going to push him into suggested videos on other people's channels. You see that? And then that gives you more reach, that gives you more brand awareness, that gives you more views, it gives you more subscribers, it gives you more everything. So the correct amount of time, as always, the correct amount of time on a YouTube video is as long as, I would say, and I hate to quantify things, but I always say your video should be as long as you think it should be, as far as, did you achieve your purpose? Okay. If your purpose is to tell your story in your first initial story and your first initial journey kind of video, then tell that story as long as is needed, right? To quantify that though, I would say your YouTube videos over 7 to 10 minutes do really, really well, and under 20 minutes. So the kind of sweet spot is between like 10 and 14 minutes. That's like the sweet spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
And when these videos, when I finish with these videos, Carl, I'll send you a link to these videos that we've recorded for this session as well.
Okay. Perfect.
Any other questions or any other comments? That's the sweet spot. If you can stay between, I think over 10 is really good, but I don't want to force it. If your first video is under 10 minutes, don't worry about it. As long as it's not like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, those kind of videos don't do really well, because even if somebody watches 50% of a 2-minute video, that's just not a lot of watch time. And that's the only metric that YouTube uses to push your channel and market it organically.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's it right now. Obviously, once I go through all the content, I'm sure I'll have a ton more. So, but
always
that's
look
it
at me.
right now.
Look at me, Carl. Always feel free, especially you. always feel free to ask me any questions. Always feel free to contact me, Nez@ProfessorNez.com. That's my email. Always feel free to contact me for anything, any questions, any comments, anything at all. I'm happy to help you, brother. It's been a real pleasure talking to you today.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Carl. You're the best. Okay, we'll talk soon.
All right. Talk soon. Thanks. Bye.
All right.